Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sarah Martin with The Contoured Chemist. Today is Get Ready With Me Day. I'm gonna be focusing on March's shade of the month. I'm so excited about this one. This is Rosewood, if you have not seen it. Can you tell? I am all about this shade, but I'm getting a lot of questions about how you can wear it. So we're gonna do a Get Ready With Me focusing on this look, how to incorporate warm tones if that's something you struggle with. And if you want to check it out, please keep watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and thanks for being here. You can all see what is going on right in front of me. He wants to say hi. Look how big he's gotten. All right. You cannot be stepping in my cream makeup. Cat hair everywhere, does not mix with creams. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started. I'm excited for this look because y'all probably know by now, I'm a sucker for warm tones. I love me some warmth, but I am getting a question a lot of like, if fairer complexions can wear this, and how to kind of wear those warm tones if you were one of those girls that was like, nope, Sarah, I'm sorry, I can't do it. I have to wear all cool. I'm going to show you what I think is the trick to wearing warm or cool shades. Truly, I believe that anyone can wear any color. It's all in just how they use it and what they pair it with. At least in my opinion, that is the key to being able to wear any color. I get told all the time, well, you can just wear anything. You look good in anything. And I don't, I promise. But sometimes I put on a color and I'm like, it's just off. But I know how to compensate for that and to create balance. So I want to show you guys that today. So we're going to do a quick face. I want to show you guys my favorite application I've been doing. Very similar to one of them I did in last week's video with the 5 ways to apply. But when I'm in a hurry, which is... be honest, 9 times out of 10, I don't get to take my time and do my face. I'm running out the door. So let's do a quick face, and then we're going to do an eye look, and I'm going to show you how to kind of complement if you're picking one shade for kind of your look of the day, how you can pick eye colors to kind of compensate. I usually say, like, you either have to pick eye shades first and then go with the blush and the lips, or vice versa. It's all about creating balance, okay? So that's what we're gonna talk about today. Let's shut up and get started. All right, so I've already had some lip conditioner, primed my eyes, fused my lashes. So I'm gonna go ahead and just start with my skin. I've already done my SPF as well. I will link all of that down below. All right, let's get started. So, all right, so my go-to lately is always, well, I feel like it's always getting good coverage, but wanting my skin to show. And I do love this brush for the most skin-like finish. This is the blend brush, but it does take longer to apply with this brush because obviously this end is pretty small, doesn't cover a lot of surface area. This end can kind of take a little bit more time. So the combination of these two has kind of been my go-to as far as highlight application. So that and clean hands. Okay, so first of all, this end, the blush end of the blush bronzer, it just applies the fastest. The key is not over applying because you can get medium to full coverage with this, but if you use a light hand, you can easily get a skin-like finish. So I just tapped it in one time, and I'm gonna go ahead and hit the high points of my face and do the buffing motion so I get a nice even application of my color corrector only where needed. Okay, so this is gonna color correct my darkest points. My rosacea, because my rosacea is kind of red today, my hyperpigmentation, and obviously my entire nose that's darker than everything else because of hyperpigmentation and rosacea. So there you go. I just hit the high points, forehead, nose, cheeks, chin really quickly. Then I'm gonna go to the blend brush. Now, anywhere I want more coverage, I'm gonna go into this dense end. I'm gonna still tap, okay? And then I'm gonna go in with more mango, just where I need more coverage. Guys, he really wants to be in this video. Okay, I got some blemishes here. I'm gonna buff it in. I can always go back and layer up more if those are still kind of showing through. I'm gonna color correct my lids real quick. This cat is seriously talkative the older he gets. Okay, and I feel like the brush or my finger is usually the fastest for around my eyes. So sometimes I just tap in. Seriously, champ. He's literally climbing boxes in the corner. The boxes I keep for giveaways. For shipping stuff. Okay, so then I'm just gonna tap a little bit more anywhere I need it. Usually that's right there under my eye. Some hyperpigmentation. My big old spot. I feel like this side is still pretty red. So when you buff on your first layer of your color corrector, say you have redness like I do, especially if you're rosacea fluctuates. So some days you could be more red than others. That's completely normal. So I always recommend buffing in that first layer so that you get that nice thin layer of coverage. But some days you might need a little bit more. So you kind of got to pay attention to your skin and what it's doing that day. And if you're a little bit have a little bit more inflammation, a little bit more flared up, then just press on a little bit more. Okay, you'll get to know your skin and know when the amount is right. Okay, so when you're like, all right, it's pretty toned down now I can go in for my main shade and kind of even everything out. So then I'm gonna pick up this brush, blend brush. I'm just gonna kind of lightly tap it into my main shade, and then I'm gonna swirl it anywhere I didn't apply my corrector. Tap it anywhere I did apply my corrector. Kind of build up a little bit of coverage, toning down a little bit of that warmth, but keeping it really thin and pretty fast so I can just kind of tap it where I need it. Okay, so for me, the key is customizing my coverage, right? So I want really skin-like finish, but certain areas of my face can show my skin a little bit more transparently, if that makes sense. And then some areas, I don't want my skin showing through. I really want more coverage on certain areas. So that's when, like, if you really want your skin to show through, use this end there. And then go in with this more detailed end, more dense end. It'll lay down more product. And that's where I tap in, and I will go back in anywhere I want extra coverage. So usually that's around my nose because I blow my nose a lot. This area, it just tends to wear off more than others. So, and since my nose is overall darker than the rest of my face, I need extra highlight there to have the best longevity. Okay, and then I usually always hit those dark points of hyperpigmentation and then around my eyes where I want to build up more coverage. And just by tapping on a little bit more of my main shade, I can get so much better coverage because I'm building up those thin layers. Okay, and then you can just kind of assess. Once we perfect, we can go back and we can even hit some of those darker points again and just color correct where needed. When we perfect, we will take off a little bit of excess, and it's normal for it to kind of pull off blemishes, that kind of thing, and you might have to kind of add a little bit more just where needed, set it in place so then it will last all day. All right, so I'm gonna do a quick contour, my ride or die of the detail. And I am going with the coolest contour I can wear at my skin tone. Okay, so since we haven't really talked about Rosewood yet, I will swatch this when we get there. This is a very warm shade. In fact, it is probably the warmest shade we've ever had. It is limited edition only for this month, happy March. And I know a lot of people are like, I just can't wear that warm. And so one of my tricks to wearing a warm blush is to make sure my contour is cool. Okay, and I'll get into a little bit how you can create balance with the blush here in a second. But if you are overall just warm, and have no cool tones like a contour, which naturally is supposed to mimic a shadow, right? Then you're going to look just too warm. And when I say warm, I know I get this question all the time of, you say warm, but you don't explain it. So where's the color wheel? I guess I naturally assume people understand what warm and what cool is, all right? So the more you go towards red on the color wheel, okay, the more yellow, orange, red you have, that's warmth, okay? So when we're looking at the skin, that's if you naturally have redness. That's if you naturally have freckles. So when we're talking about contour, we're usually talking about more gray, okay? And obviously we get into gray, those darker, that's just excess blue. Most of our contours are designed so that there's a lot of contours on the market that pull very warm, which is more a bronzer. Bronzer is meant to add warmth to your skin. That is its only purpose. Its purpose is to give the look of like a suntan to your face, right? Contours are supposed to look like the natural shadow we have, okay? Shadows are gray, they have excess blue. A contour shouldn't be warm, all right? Now, we do have some contours that are warmer than others. So my go-tos are always Astoria, okay? And then Indigo. Now, Indigo is much warmer. Can you tell the difference? Okay, it's got much more of that red undertone. Indigo is one of my favorite for a bronzy look because it's like you almost don't even need to add bronzer with it because it's gonna give that warmth, that red undertone to the skin. But some skin tones can't wear that. Some skin tones can't wear as much warmth because it will just increase the look of their redness. It truly depends on everyone. I have a lot of red in my skin, but as long as I color correct, I can still wear shades like indigo, but I have to be careful because it will give me a much warmer look. So for me, it depends on the look I'm going for. If I'm going for a very like summery tan look, I will use indigo. And a lot of times in fall, it's one of my favorite colors to wear as well. But for this look, I'm gonna show you a trick of how to use warmth, okay? Like I said earlier, it's all about balance. So I am not gonna choose indigo because I know I'm gonna add more warmth here in a minute with a bronzer, okay? A lot of times using a warm contour plus a bronzer plus a warm lip and cheek, you're gonna look way too orange red. And that's not the look we wanna go for. We really wanna create balance. And that's the key, in my opinion, to being able to wear any lip and cheek color. It's all in what you pair it with. All right, so for me, I'm definitely gonna go with Astoria. It is the coolest contour I can wear for my skin tone. All right, so Astoria did a quick nose contour. Now it's time to brighten. I'm gonna go ahead and pick up the same blend brush because this one will pick up less product, which means it'll save me time in using the perfector and getting off excess. If you keep it light-handed, you guys know I love, where is it? The buff brush for my under eyes, but this is more of a full coverage. And that one will pick up a lot more product when it comes to my brightener. So I'm just gonna kind of tap in and I'm gonna be really light-handed up to that nose contour and then just to brighten where needed. Tap on so I don't move anything around. Okay, and you can brighten chin in between the eyes, wherever you like. Go a little bit down that nose contour. There you go, quick and easy. All right, now we're to the perfector step. And I do always do this before the next two steps. I don't think that there's really a right or wrong order, but I do have a method to my madness. And the reason I do is because I want it to look like skin. And the next two things, which is the blush and the bronzer, I like a really sheer wash of bronzer. And I don't want this to then remove excess. After I place it in a certain way, same goes for blush. A lot of times people will say, well, I put on my blush and then I perfect and then it's like it's all gone. And our blush dies down after about 5 minutes anyway. So if you put it on and then you perfect, you are gonna remove too much. And then that's also dying down after it's kind of settling. So I always perfect before that. So then I can just place exactly the amounts I want of both of those things and it's gonna stay that way. Does that make sense? I'm just gonna kind of bounce this all over, remove excess, give me that skin-like finish, kind of blur edges. And of course, prevent creasing under these bad boys. Okay, here's where I usually look and see if I need any more coverage anywhere. See if I pulled off too much. I might have pulled off a little bit too much on that spot, but that's about it. Those new blemishes don't like to have anything stick, you know? Okay, so I just put a little color corrector, a little main shade, and then just barely touched my vanilla dust to kind of set that. And now we're to the fun part. Okay, so we have Rosewood here. I'm trying to figure out which order I want to do this. I'm going to go ahead and do blush first, and here's why. Okay, so when it comes to a warmer shade like this, let's go ahead and do some comparison swatches. I know I did some over on IG, but I want you guys that did not see those to be able to compare. All right, so I always thought everything, like the warmest shade we had was Sandstone, okay? And then this is Rosewood. Can you tell how much warmer this is? So in my opinion, this one might be closer to my shirt. This one might be closer to my earrings. This is very much terracotta. Like when I saw it, when I swatched it for the first time, I was like, that's straight up terracotta, which if you don't know, it's one of my favorite colors to wear. And I love that it's like popular for both fall and for summer. So let's go ahead and do a nice swatch. Now this is a very pigmented shade. It's also very matte. Okay, and it looks very warm when swatched, especially on my very white hand because I haven't self-tanned in a while. I've self-tanned my face, but not my arms. Can you tell? Okay, so it does look very warm, and I'll be honest, the first time I swatched it, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to wear that color because it looks very orange, okay? Especially when I compared it to Sandstone, which to this point was the only warm shade we really had. And I felt like, man, Sandstone looks so much, I don't know. It's like darker, more red in it, more, I don't want to say pink, but it must be kind of the red. It's just more towards the red part, okay? This one is more towards it's got more yellow in it, okay? That's why it's pulling more orange. And then the other one's got more purple in it, which is why it's pulling more red, okay? So it does have more purple in it, which is cool. All right, so that is why this one's pulling so warm, okay? So hopefully you guys kind of understand warm and cool, right? Just for an example of cool, this is plum, which is our most cool, okay? Do you see how purple that looks in comparison, okay? It's got more purple, it's got more gray, all of that leads to more of a cool look, all right? In fact, I bet you plum, I'm gonna do a little experiment real quick, and rosewood would almost look very much like sandstone when mixed. Ooh, that's pretty. Right? That's really pretty. So there you go, plum and rosewood. That's super pretty. It's very much, kind of reminds me of nude. Nope, it's still warmer than nude. There's nude. There's the mix. Okay, anyway, that was not my intention to start mixing shades, even though it's my most favorite part of our lip and cheeks is mixing them, if you guys don't know. All right, so we have a very warm shade. The first question I got is, can I wear this when I'm super fair? And I think when they say fair, I think what people really mean is cool, because the fairer the skin tone, usually the more cool the skin tone. It's just kind of naturally the way our skin works, right? More suntanned, the tanner, the darker you get, you naturally get much more warmth in your face. That is why most people in the summer that have a good tan are mango. They are the warmest shade, right? So it's kind of just naturally the way melanin production happens in our face. More melanin you have in your face, like freckles, hyperpigmentation, the warmer you are, right? That is just what controls the pigment in our skin. So when you say you're fair, I'm guessing you're talking about when you're super cool, all right? Now, if you're like me and are naturally just super warm, granted, a lot of that is from me self-tanning, but I naturally am warmer than cool, you don't have to worry so much about using a warmer shade because you probably naturally just look good in them. I feel like when your skin is naturally warm, you can easily wear warm shades. You do sometimes have to worry about things getting pulled too warm if you do have redness, that kind of thing, because that will increase the look of warmth. So for me, I use cool contours and it still pulls pretty warm on my skin because of my redness kind of pulling it that way. But when you're more fair and you're using a very warm shade, what happens? It tends to make you look washed out because you have no balance if you're just straight cool and just then have a really warm shade on your skin, like here, right? You can kind of tell how washed out my hand looks next to straight up orange, as opposed to over here when it's got more balanced shades. It's got a little bit of warm and cool in it. So can you guys guess my trick for being able to use a warmer shade? You have to add warmth to your face. It's all about balancing those tones. So I kind of had to create a little bit of coolness to my face by using that cool contour in order for me to use a warmer shade and be able to use something like a bronzer in return, because I wanted to show you guys how to add warmth. Easiest way to add warmth, bronzer. So if you are in that fair, cool category, I would say if you wear anything lighter than amber as your main shade, I would suggest tan lines, okay? Honestly, I don't think I would recommend palm with this lip and cheek because this is naturally just a very orange yellow bronzer that it's just gonna make that look even warmer. Does that make sense? But this one is much more wearable. It's much more, it's gonna add that touch of warmth. Let's see if I can not wipe off all of them. It'll just add just enough warmth to your skin so that you could wear something warm with it. All about balance, all right? So for me, on the daily, you guys know I love mixing Bella, Glow Illuminator, and Heat Waves. But for a warm look, I'm not gonna wear Heat Waves. Heat Waves, I also had swatched this in the picture because this is kind of one of the warmest things. It's honestly so much warmer and more red than Bella, okay? So, but look at those next to each other. I mean, it looks orange and red, right? Bella looks so much more subdued, I guess you could say. It almost looks cool in comparison, right? So all it takes is adding a little bit of warmth. I'm still gonna use Glow Illuminator because I'm obsessed with it. So I'm just gonna swirl into Bella and Glow, and I'm not gonna use Heat Wave. And then I'm just gonna add a little bit. Now, granted, I'm naturally warm. I don't need much. So I've already highlighted and accent brightened the center. So I'm just gonna kind of add it to my temples. I'm gonna add it right there. And I actually meant to apply my blush first because that was the whole point. Let's just do blush on this side. I was gonna show you how, lost my train of thought with all these swatches. Okay, so I'm going to slowly build up color, okay? This is a pigmented shade. So I'm just gonna kind of gently tap in, okay? And smile, go to the outside apple of my cheek. I'm gonna go right up along this contour line. If you add this shade first, you can see how much warmth you might need, okay, to create that balance. That way you can apply the bronzer. Or I guess you could add your bronzer, add your blush, and then you can always go back and add more of your bronzer. That's why I love a cream bronzer and not a powder. You can just slowly build it up. It's very sheer almost, so you can just apply as much or as little as you need, as long as you don't over apply in the beginning. So I feel like this is very natural, as I didn't apply it heavy. And for fairer skin tones, the lighter you are, I was actually shocked at how not orange this looks on my skin. But lighter skin tones, you'll probably just barely need to tap in. You're not gonna need to use as much at all. But you could build up that color. Okay. In fact, it looks very similar to me just wearing a bronzer. So if you are one that loves to use Bella bronzer all the time as your lip and cheek, you might really like this color because it will give you the bronzy look, but it's not as sheer. It is more pigmented, so it should stay in place so much better. Go ahead and apply it to this side too. And it looks even better with a little bit of bronzer, in my opinion. Okay, can you tell the difference? So this is contour, Bella, and then Rosewood. And this is just contour and Rosewood. Okay, so I'm gonna add a little bit more warmth to this side of my face. I feel like it just looks better the more warmth I'm adding. Okay, and then I always gotta Bella the neck. Use the drops on my face, but I have not tanned my body all week. So that's how I stay matching, guys. Little secret. It's all in the bronzer. So pretty. I love this color, and I didn't know if I would when I first swatched it. It's so pretty. It's so much more wearable than I expected, to be honest. All right, let me quickly finish up my face, which means I'm gonna tap out any creases and set under my eyes. Okay, now that my brows are done, I feel like I can assess my face so much easier. I don't feel complete until they are. All right, let's go ahead and do lips before we do the eyes. Because I want to show you guys Rosewood, obviously on the lips. And then I don't want to go crazy on the eyes. Like I want to make sure I use this first. Like I said before, it's like pick one or the other. Let's do a certain color for lips and cheeks. Then we can do the eyes and not like overdo it. Whereas if we were to do the eyes and go more bold on the eyes and then put this on the lip, we might not have balance, right? It's all about the balance that we were talking about. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and have some lip conditioner. Since this is a warmer shade, for me personally, I know I'm going to need a cool contour to line my lips. If I were to use indigo, which is darker and warmer, it's gonna pull this much darker and much warmer. So I'm gonna use Astoria, which was my cheek contour. Okay, just enough to give me some definition. Okay, I'm gonna use my finger so you guys can see what it looks like lightly. Which is probably how I would wear it. Almost like looks like a terracotta stain. It's super pretty. Like I feel like with this lip and cheek, I could go really simple on my eyes and be really happy. Like it doesn't need much, right? Okay, I wanna show you how you can change it up. So you might get this color. You might be able to wear it fine on your cheeks. You just, maybe on your lips, you're like, ooh, that's too much. Or let's try applying it a little bit heavier. Just to show you guys. So anytime you want more pigment, pick up that multitasker. It's gonna show a lot more pigmented and darker. So I definitely like it a little bit lighter on myself personally, but that might be because my eyes aren't done. All right, so if you get a color and it is too warm, there's so many different things you can do to make it wearable for you. And one of the easiest things is by mixing or topping your lip and cheek with a cool shade. All right, so I would say some of the best cool toned shades. Okay, I've got a lot in here. You can tell most of mine are more warmer. Summer Love is one of my favorites, which is more cool. Most of mine are warm in here. So both Petal and Candy and Pinky Promise are more in the cool family. I would say even Ballerina and Sadie. Sadie's probably a little bit more neutral, but it will still kind of tone it down. And then again, Plum, which is what we mixed over here, is definitely very cool. So if I were to put Plum, it would keep my lips nice and dark. It would just create this color, which I think is really beautiful. It's almost like rosy mauve with warm undertones. I mean, that would be a really beautiful color. So since this is a little dark because I ended up putting it on darker. Oh, I forgot one of the shades. Oh yeah, Carousel. So this is one of our new ones that is, I just want to try it because of sheer curiosity. This is the only shade we have that has that like cool sheen to it. It's got like a shimmer, but it's like, I mean, look how sheer it is. I'm just curious what it would look like. I have no idea if I'm gonna like it. But I'm telling you, it will cool it down. Just trying to figure out the best way to apply it. I feel like it's almost too sheer to do much. It's adding sheen, but it almost doesn't have enough pigment with it on this dark. So that was a failure. I'm just kidding. Let's try Candy. I know a lot of people would probably put Petal in the center of this. Petal is a little light on me, so let's try Candy first. Okay. It almost, that's interesting. I don't know, it almost pulled it more like Frenchie. Like to me, it looks very similar to Frenchie, which, like a little bit darker, but this is Frenchie. A little bit darker than Frenchie, but more in that family. So it kind of peached it up a little bit, which makes sense because Frenchie is like this with more pink in it. So if you know color theory whatsoever, you can kind of figure out what's going to happen when you mix shades. All right, now we'll go down to Petal. Now this is very cool. In fact, probably don't need this much. I'm going to try just the center. Yeah, that lightened it up even more so to Frenchie. See, I'm just experimenting, guys. Sometimes this is how I find my favorite combinations. Just layering. So what I really wanted to try over this whole time, I feel like I almost need to take it off and put it back on. You guys don't mind, right? I have not tried it with my favorite shade. So I'm just gonna, which I actually do like this one. It's very glossy. Frenchie is a matte, and I usually always have to top it with a gloss because I can't wear that matte on my lips. But this one I actually do really like. So that was Rosewood, technically Carousel, which I don't think did much. Candy and Petal. I think if you just did Rosewood and Petal, it would probably pull it pretty similar. So there you go. I'm gonna try a different combination real quick. Okay, so I went back, I lined with Astoria again, and then I tapped it on with my fingers. So it's not quite as pigmented, and I really am dying to try La Cienega over it. This is the one that's like pink with gold shimmer, and I literally put it over everything. And I feel like it's going to pull it a little bit more coral because it's got more pink. Okay, see, I knew I would like that. So let me show you guys what okay, so there's just a little bit of Rosewood with La Cienega over it. And you see how it turns it more corally? Like, to me, it looks the more coral family. But with that shimmer, I mean, this was the worst part of my arm I could have showed you guys. Look how pretty that is. Looks so different, right? So that totally looks like a shimmery coral. So if you like Tropicana or even Venice, oh, Venice is much more pink. That's Venice. Where's Tropicana? So there's Tropicana. So it's like a darker, a little bit warmer, more pigmented version of Tropicana. I like. That might be my go-to combo for the rest of the month. All right, now that my hand is full. All right, so with a color like this, and then you get to the eyes, I'll be honest, I feel like I don't need much on my eyes. I would probably just go super simple, but I would not go all cool on the eyes. And the reason why is because it's going to look very out of place and like disconnected. It's just like doing a really warm eye and a warm lip and with then just a really cool pink cheek. It looks off unless you add warmth to it as well. So balance. We're going to use some cool. If you want to use cool, you gotta use some cool with warm on the eye. Let's start with just what I would do for a very basic natural look with this. I would probably keep it very simple and then we can go from there. Easily do an all warm look on your eyes with this. And I don't think it would be pulled wonky as long as you have bronzer or something to add that warmth in your skin. I truly believe that anyone can wear warm tones. So I'm going to start with what I've been doing lately, which is going with my Magic Eraser shade, my color of my skin tone, which is Chai. I'm going to just do that all over as a nice little quick base. It does darken my eyelid just a touch, but it allows me to not have to put anything on the lid. I mean, other than that, and I can just kind of frame out my eyes. So if it was me, everyday look, I would probably go with my two favorite warm tones ever. Can you guys guess? I actually did this earlier this week. Okay, Bubba, my first love. It looks barely warm next to it, but it is warm. High up in my crease. So high above my crease, I guess I should say. Just a touch. Really high on the brow bone so that I can see it when my eyes are open. Now I'm going to take it all the way under my lash line to frame out my eyes. And this color, I almost can barely see when I halo, but it's just enough that it frames my eyes, okay? Then my second, now favorite, okay? Just kind of one touch darker, Sedona. Now I'm gonna go to that outer corner and into my actual crease. And you'll notice there's not a huge difference in these tones until you really build it up. But this has been my go-to lately for an everyday, really natural, easy eye. And then I take just a touch of Sedona in the outer corner. And I usually will have to reassess and be like, okay, can I see this shade, and use a little bit above Bubba again, above that, just to make sure I can see it with my eyes open. Okay, so it's pretty much all matte. It's just giving my eyes a little bit of warmth and definition so they don't look completely bare with a look like this, but it's super natural. And you can build it up if you want. So if you're like, all right, I like that, but I wish it was a little bit more defined, just grab the smudge brush and go back into Sedona and then just tap in the outer corner. I consider Sedona a 4-5 shade, meaning you can wear it lightly in the crease or you can build it up for more depth and it gets darker. You see that? Okay, so right now I've got all mattes, all warm tones. I need to blend a little bit better, but you guys get the point. Right now I feel like it is an all warm look. Okay, if you want to add some shimmer and you like all warmth, I would totally go with Crush or Bright Eyes on the lid to really make it pop. I mean, Bright Eyes would be so pretty, but Crush would be a little bit more natural. Bright Eyes definitely is much more of a pop shade. I feel like Crush is more natural for sure. And then you can add a little bit of your favorite brightener to the inside corner and under the brow and add a little bit more drama, a little bit less natural of an eye look. Or another option is going in the opposite direction. So like I said before, like with this on your lips and cheeks, you really don't want to do all cool eyes, but if you prefer cool tones, you could easily go with a more cool transition color, something like Cafe or Basic or all Bird, something like that up here, and then pick a more warmer tone for that pop of shimmer on the eye or for your outer corner. So something like that Bright Eyes or Crush that will give a little bit of warmth. Then you can even use something like Cocoa on the outer corner, balancing those tones. So since I've used all warmth, I'm gonna look for something a little bit more cool to add to my lid. All right, so what are more cool shades? So this is gonna be less in the gold, orange, red family. So we wanna kind of steer clear of those. Sometimes neutrals are really kind of over here. You could easily kind of do this look and then keep your eyes very neutral. Again, even neutrals tend to pull a little bit more cool or warm. Even I feel like Stardust and Sabrina, they still pull a little bit more towards one side. But these through here are all warm, okay? This one has a little bit more purple in it. So purple is got more blue in it, all right? So once we get to this red, there can be purples, more like the purple reds, red purples, that still pull warmer, okay? The closer we get to blue, the more cool it is, okay? The closer we get to gray, charcoal, black, the more cool it is, all right? So a way to cool this down is to easily use something cool along the lash line. You can even use a really icy brightener shade, something that pulls a little bit more cool on the lid. So I would say most pinks are, they're hard for me because I feel like they're in between red and purple. Like they can easily pull warmer or cool depending on what they're paired with. So I'm not even gonna get into pinks right now, but purples are definitely more cool. And my first thought is this one, which looks very icy when swatched. Oh my gosh, what is its name? Venus now. It was Sugar Plum. It still says Sugar Plum on mine. Okay, so this one is much more cool. I believe it's Venus, right? If I'm wrong, I'll put it down below. But this one is much more cool. You can tell it almost is much gray, purple undertones, shimmer. All right, this one is a little bit more foiled, so I got to be careful with placement, and I can't just sweep it all over the lid, or I will have fallout and it will increase the look of texture. Okay, so I'm just going to grab a little bit and press it right on that inner third of my lid to catch light, and you can easily then build up the color till it's how you like it. And you can see how much it's cooled down that eye look already. Okay, so we're just going for balance. You could probably imagine an all cool eye next to all warm everywhere else on the face is gonna make it look off. So when you are feeling like a color is pulling and you're just feeling washed out or off, either add more warmth, add bronzer, or where you need to adjust or add a color in the opposite of which way you're getting pulled, okay? So that gave me some cool tones. I am then going to go ahead and add some liner because I feel like it is not looking complete. And sometimes that just means a little bit of liner. So I'm gonna line, and then I'm gonna use a cool shade to tone it down. Okay, so I went ahead and lined with Black Friday, and then I used Kohl, which is pretty much just a dark charcoal, okay? I used that along my lash line, and I still feel like I need to balance a little bit, I'll be honest. I feel like I'm a little warm. That cool is just kind of sticking out. So I'm gonna try to add a little bit of a purple along the outer corner to see if that ties in. And purple obviously can pull more warm or cool. Does it have more blue in it, or does it have more red in it? So sometimes when I feel like I don't know which way to go, I'll pick one that I feel like is kind of in the middle. So this is Ken, okay? So you might not be able to tell. It's very purple burgundy, which means it's cool and it's got some warmth. So I feel like that's gonna be a nice balancing shade for the colors I've got going on, because I've got some warm, then I've got some really, really cool purple. So I'm just gonna use a little bit of Ken with the smudge brush in the outer corner and hopefully balance those two. Okay, once I'm all said and done, then I always go back and say, okay, do my eyes look balanced? Do I have enough? Is it clearly pulling all cool, all warm? My favorite eye looks are always ones that are a nice balance. Can you guys tell? Balance is our word of the day. All right, so I think the eyes are done, and then I realized I never brightened. So should we try to brighten with this? I usually don't use this shade because, like I said, it's a little bit more foiled. But if you are strategic, and that means careful brush choice, the multitasker, I can't use this one or it will fall underneath here, but the multitasker, I can really make sure that's hitting only my tear duct and not creating texture. So I can press this on. If you still have issues with kind of fallout, try using primer or something that this color can then stick to exactly where you want it. I don't know, this might pull a little purple underneath my brow. I'm gonna experiment. We're gonna try it. I think as long as you use very little, you can use this color multitude of ways. And we never used illuminators. So got two new ones, limited edition. We got, I keep forgetting these names, Chandelier and Confetti. And I feel like Chandelier is very cool. Confetti is very warm. When in doubt, what do? When in doubt, I mix things. One swipe, two swipe. If I can't decide if something should be warm or cool, I find something that's got both tones, kind of like I did with Ken. Balance. Mixing is a game changer, guys. It's the way I always correct my face, right? So if my blush is pulling too warm, add a cool color on top. All you got to do is kind of know a little bit about the color wheel. I know how to look at something and say, is that warmer or is it cool? Which of my shades pull more warm or cool? How can I use them to adjust other colors? And your makeup game will change forever. Hopefully that's not too confusing. Drop me a comment below if you're wanting a video strictly on warm versus cool eyeshadows. I feel like I'm getting a lot of questions about what's warm and what's cool. So thinking that needs to be on my list to really show you guys exactly what's what. So if you'd like to see that, let me know. There you go. That's the finished look. I feel like I'm loving Rosewood more and more every time I use it. So my cheeks and lips are very warm. I've got some warmth, but man, I got some cool, and it looks balanced. I love it. I hope you guys love it too. Remember, it is only a limited edition shade for the month of March, and it might come back next year for a shade of the month, but we don't know, unfortunately. I wish I knew. So if you like it, snag it while you can. If you're needing a color match for 3D foundation, I am more than happy to help. My color match request is in the link in the drop box below the video. Just fill that out and I'll get back to you within 24 hours usually and let you know all of the shades you will need for your custom match. And I can help you out with eyeshadows, lip and cheeks, the whole 9 yards. I hope that was helpful and you guys learned a little bit more about wearing warm and cool tones. Don't be scared of warmth. I know it's my favorite, but I know it's not everyone's favorite, but I challenge you to try to use it with some cool tones too and find balance. It truly will enable you to wear any and every shade when you learn how to balance it with other tones. If you have any questions, just drop it in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. Love you. Bye.